Yeah, so welcome everyone. Let us then begin. I hope we got some time to ingather and invoke Mother's presence. So today we have to start from this page number 59 on Sunlit Path. Escape from other influences. So yeah, let us read it out first and then we can share reflections. Anyone like to read?
I'll read, Monica. Escape from other influences. Sweet mother, how can we escape from other people's influence? By concentrating more and more totally and completely on the divine. If you aspire with all your order, if you want to receive only the divine influence, if all the time you pull back towards yourself what is taken, caught by other influences, and with your will put it under the divine influence, you succeed in doing it. It's a work that can't be done in a day, in a minute. You must be vigilant for a very long time, for years, but one can succeed. First of all, you must will it for all things. First, you must understand, will, and then begin to practice. Begin by just a very little. Monica, I didn't understand this. If you want to receive only the divine influence, if all the time you pull back towards yourself what is taken, I'm not able to understand it properly. What is that?
Yeah, we can look at it. Yeah, so let us start from the very beginning and please keep sharing if there are reflections, doubts, questions, anything. At any moment of time, feel free to unmute and share. So, the question is, Sweet Mother, how can we escape from other people's influence? Now, this is something which is, I think, troubling most of us all the time because all the time we are around people. We are not living in forests here. We are living in families, around families. If not families, there are friends, there are colleagues in our workplace. At times, we have phone calls with people, and that is also very, very much of an influence. So we see that it's like, there is this machine of earthquake measuring. It's called the Richter scale. And the moment there is a kind of a movement in the tectonic plates, it notices, it makes a record. So our condition is like that because since we are not grounded in the divine, we are by default not rooted in the divine, which is within ourselves or up there. So what happens is that our roots are in this material existence. Hmm? So imagine that there is earth and the tectonic plates are there and your roots are there. The moment something or the other moves, there is a movement on the Richter scale. That, oh, I got swayed. That person said this thing to me, or that person's mood was not good today and it affected us. So on one hand, this tells us that we are all kind of, if you have seen science or biological movies, under the electron microscope or in general, you will see even quantum physics tells that you have all the time an exchange going on between things. So if this is my hand, it seems like it is ending here and then there is space, like there is nothing here. But if we look physically, quantum physics way, then we will see that no, that's not true. There is a continuous exchange going on. There is nothing like यहाँ पे खत्म हो गया और यहाँ पे कुछ नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है. Whatever is there, that which I cannot see, it's continuously exchanging things and things with this so-called seeming solid hand. This is well proven fact. It is nothing new that we are talking of. So, and that is why if we go even via quantum physics way, we will see that appearances deceive. It appears very solid here, but it is not solid if we go deeply. There is a continuum. That also tells us that how vastly we are interconnected with each other. So if I throw garbage out of my house and think that okay, my house will be sane and not dirty, and the neighbor, whatever neighborhood can be dirty, and I don't care because it's not my house, we see that very soon it troubles us. Either the smell will come to us, or the mosquitoes will come to us. This is what we are seeing also, this global warming, that we put a lot of kabad and kuda and everything in the nature outside, and now it is coming back to us because we are not separated, we are not walled, we are all interconnected. So when we are affected by other people's influences, it's go to look at it, many layers can be seen. It's not just at one layer we can see. So imagine that okay, now I am working on myself, but I see that other people around me are not really interested in working on themselves, and they just do all the kind of things which maybe are not required. Now that will continue to impact me for a very long time, and that will tell us that we can't do it alone, we have to do it together. So if I'm throwing garbage out in the neighborhood, that also to clean it is my responsibility. We cannot just shrug our shoulders and say that how do I care, it's just outside, it's not here, because that comes back to us. So on one layer we can also see that this also tells us that how vastly we are interconnected, and how there is this collective consciousness, like mother says, the collective consciousness of desire or thoughts coming from outside. Some people may be thinking about some negative thoughts and it comes into you because we are all communicating with each other, not even consciously, unconscious, that communication is kind of taking place all the time. So on one level we can look at that vast interconnection, and that if I want to take care of my home, it cannot be that those only those four walls are neat and tidy and outside all the garbage I can throw, because it will come back to me. So because there is a vast interconnection, so let us do it together. Let us spread out whatever sanity we are finding in our lives. Let us also keep it spreading. This we also see in Buddhism, that the idea of Mahayana, the great vehicle, that okay, let me also come out of this suffering and let others also come out of this suffering. So first level which I can share here is this, that we are always usually under influences of the people around. So just like that, if I begin to work on myself, and if it is a positive influence, since we are all impacted by each other, that will also impact others around me. So works both ways. If other is able to throw his anger or jealousy or whatever on me, then I also have the power that whatever goodness I have, I can spill it out, because we are all communicating with each other, interconnected vastly. And then we go back to the other layer which I think is addressed here. So first is this vast interconnection, that we are not disconnected from each other, we are all interconnected. Yeah. Yeah, so the question is, sweet mother, how can we escape from other people's influence? Because we see that even when we are trying to say ingather ourselves, very easily we are swayed. The moment of that earthquake movement happened and something outer trigger happened, and inwardly like a shake, a quake was there. Something outside happens and inside I feel a trigger, the movement of that trigger. So how do I not be swayed by every outer trigger? How is that possible? That's the question. That whatever people are feeling, experiencing outside of me, how is it possible that I remain unmoved within? Then mother answers the question by concentrating more and more totally and completely on the divine. So we will see that in our head, we are always thinking about things here and there and here and there. People around us, things happened that in the past, things that are happening right now, commentaries on those things. If you look at your mind, you will see that all the time something is going on, and we are believing in those stories, and we are not really with the divine. In other words, we can say that I am not taking stance as awareness. I become the story. I believe in the story. That story is not just a story, it is my life. So I take it too seriously. So when it says that by concentrating more and more totally and completely on the divine, again we can at least talk about it in two ways, that either we continue to bring our mind on the breath, or take stance as the awareness, that I am the awareness looking at all the movements of life, or we invoke mother's presence or any divine form that we resonate with, and keep our mind concentrated on that, and have no sense of want from the external world, that it will give me some approval, some satisfaction. Let it give me disappointment, I don't bother, because all my contentment is coming from the divine. But usually that is not the case. We see that we are disappointed very easily, and when the disappointment comes, it tells me that, oh, I was not solely under divine influence, I wanted again from the external world that this or that way things should happen. So I think it's a very good signal, like the red signal on our traffic signal, that the moment there is pain, disappointment, I can be sure that again my concentration was not fully inside, inwardly ingathered. I again had started expecting from the outer world, and hence the disappointment. So by concentrating more and more totally and completely on the divine, if you aspire with all your ardor, if you want to receive only the divine influence. So right now I am taking in all the influences, है ना? उसने क्या कहा, उसने मेरे बारे में क्या सोचा, अच्छा उसकी शक्ल कैसी थी आज, वो मेरे बारे में क्या फील कर रहा था, क्या मैंने कोई गलत काम किया, all the time we are just doing all these things. But here mother is saying that if you really want to be under divine influence, it is not impossible. You become just totally pinpointed within inside, that nothing can sway you, because what matters to you is the divine, and all your sustenance is coming from the divine. So this also comes in Savitri. He drew sustenance from occult roots, and in I think Gita we have this image of the inverted tree, Ashwatha tree, which has roots up and the spread and the branches below. So that is what we have to become. Otherwise, if the roots are below, then a little bit of earthquake movement outside, and then I am also shaken up. That keeps on happening with us all the time. We see that. And whenever that happens, it's a signal that my roots again, out of habit, my roots got into the material existence. So the roots have to be up in the divine, within us, immanent divine, and the spread, the work that you do, the interactions that you make in the workplace, in the society, that can be totally spread in the material, and that should be, that's the purpose. But the roots can't be in the material, because the material is a quaky field, it is shaking each moment. आज आपका प्यारा दोस्त है, कल नहीं होगा वो, मान लो नाराज हो गया आपसे, तो क्या करोगे, जीवन उखड़ जाएगा आपका, डिप्रेशन में चले जाओगे नाराज हो गया तो हम क्या करते हैं, हम ये करते हैं, हम अपने दोस्तों में, चाहे वो स्पिरिचुअल फ्रेंडशिप्स हैं, कुछ भी है, नेम इट एनीथिंग, इन द मटीरियल वर्ल्ड we try to find a ground. That is impossible. So when mother says be solely under the divine influence, means be totally groundless. Have groundlessness as your ground, knowing that the material world is quaky. I know things are pleasant today, may not be pleasant tomorrow. So that's the way of material existence right now, that it is all the time fleeting, ephemeral, moving. So we can't base ourselves there. The base has to be up in the divine, within the divine, and the spread can be as far as the whole globe and beyond the planets, doesn't matter. Yeah, so anything so far, anyone? Okay, then we can maybe go ahead in that case. So, if you aspire with all your ardor, if you want to receive only the divine influence, that you are not giving that much of a bother to if people are maybe a little mad at you. That doesn't, of course, you address those issues in whatever highest possible way that is possible, but it's not that you keep on getting swayed all the time. Your roots are not there. You're not wanting anything from those people around, no matter how close they may be to you. So, if you want to receive only the divine influence, if all the time you pull back towards yourself what is taken, caught by other influences, and with your will put it under the divine influence, you succeed in doing it. And then mother says that it is not done in 1 minute, it's a long process, because out of habit I keep going in those older slippery slopes of the mind and feeling, and again want and have hopes and desires from the people around me. So that is out of habit I will go there. But if I have an aspiration that I don't want to now go there, then when I am plunging into that slippery slope, going into that older habit again, I will be able to see it and then to able to stop it. So when Shardaji was asking what does this mean, if all the time you pull back towards yourself what is taken. So usually in one way, caught by other influences and with your will put it under the divine influence. So what is taken? Let us explore. Hmm? We are living with people around, either at work, in family, or maybe in our mind. We are living with people. And we begin to have hopes from people, expectation from those people. Now, I give a piece of my consciousness to that person outside of me, don't I? Think about it. That's what we are doing all the time. So, as if I have given a part of me, left it there at that person's mercy. If he approves of it, very good. I am happy, delighted. If he doesn't approve of it, I am disappointed. Why? Because my piece, as if like a flesh, piece of flesh, I take it. It doesn't. It's not a visible piece. It's an intangible piece. It's a piece of my consciousness. I keep it out and leave it at the other person's mercy or the mercy of the situation. Now, mother says that if you have done that, and we all do that because of our old habits, if you have done that and now you don't want to do that anymore, waiting for that person to approve of you, or waiting for life to fix things for you in the way you would like, then just take it back. So let's read it again. If all the time you pull back towards yourself what is taken and caught by other influences, so like a spider web, a spider web has taken some creature, it is caught in there, caught by other influences, and with your will put it under the divine influence. So you actually bring it back to you, or you show it the light above. You offer it to the mother, that mother, I can't take care of this, I'm giving this piece of my being or consciousness to you. Now it's not under that person's influence or the influence of that situation. Now it is under your influence. You consciously do that. Then mother says that you succeed in doing it, because then we have a little purity in our being, that I am not manipulative and say thinking that I want something from that person or situation. No, I don't want. I just want the divine to do best in this situation. So I leave it to the divine. It's a work that can't be done in a day, a minute, or in a minute. You must be vigilant for a very long time. Now, what happens? For years, but one can succeed. What happens is that, say, in one moment, Think about all your slippery slopes. There must be many, we all have places in our life where we are more attached. Then there are places in our life where we are relatively detached. All of us are like that, no? So if one person says something that affects you more, but if 10 other people have said something to you, you don't bother much. It doesn't move a thing. So when we are especially talking of the attached spots here, where we are weak and where we want to transcend something, our old habit. So if out of habit I have again given some part of my consciousness to the outside influence, a person or a situation, and I recognize that, oh, I have done it again. I look at it, I take it back, and I offer it to the mother. Mother, I offer it to you. Or we again bring it totally with ourselves and not have any expectation or demand from outer situation. So mother says that, uh, just let me read it again. It's a work that can't be done in a day, in a minute. You must be vigilant for a long time. Now what happens if I am not vigilant? Then what I will find myself doing is the older habit that I again begin expecting from the other person. And I again leave that piece of consciousness outside at the person's mercy or at the mercy of outer situation. So if I find myself doing that, then I have to bring it back. And if I am not vigilant, I will, out of habit, because there is already a way, there is a slippery slope set for me. I don't have to do any effort. Out of habit, I will slip into it, like it's like a groove. Like train tracks, there are grooves on which the tires of the train are set. So once it is set, then you don't have to do anything. It is set in the groove. So these old habits are like grooves. There we don't need any effort. By default, we will expect. But if we want to transcend these older patterns because we know that they cause entanglement and bring a lot of pain, then vigilance is required, that the moment that tire is going back, the wheels are going back into the groove, I stop it from going there. And again offer it to the mother and call that piece of consciousness that I was about to lose back towards myself. So in that sense, is one way again in which we can look at it, and yeah, invite more reflections and if there are questions. There's a thing here. So mother says, first of all, you must will it. Many a times we find ourselves very weak in our will, and that means that, as mother says in the earlier passage also it was there, that there are contradictory selves in us. One is wanting to transcend and the other is still sticking to the old habit. When there is contradiction, then for a long time we do not fully succeed in transcending. And that just is an example. There is nothing to be ashamed of. If we are ashamed, then we can't actually walk on this path, because so many things are there which we are not aware of in us. So shamelessness is the way. One has to be shameless, otherwise it's not possible to be ashamed at every fall. So we just notice that, oh, I had contradictory wills inside of me. One wanted to transcend, the other did not want to transcend yet, because I'm too addicted to the older tastes. And for all things, first you must understand, then will, and then begin to practice. Begin by just very little things we can pick and begin to work. So understanding is important, because without understanding, I will not be able to will it. So one example is that if I want to leave cigarettes or any addiction, for example, now for me it is very important to understand logically, conceptually, that what is a cigarette doing to my body. So or what is too oily food or junk kind of food doing to my body. When we understand the science of it logically also, then we get the will to do it. That okay, next time I will not be able to fall that easy a prey to the older habit, because an understanding is there. And that is why on the cigarette packets nowadays they want to show the people that what happens to your throat, you get these kind of cancer, or they have a picture. It's not a very pleasing picture, it's a very ugly picture if you have seen, on the pack of cigarettes, so that if you see this, at least you can stop. But those who want to have it, they won't look at it, you will just look at the front part and not look at the back part. So we are very clever, because if we see it, then it won't be very nice to have it. Yeah. So anything here before we move next? Yes.
Good evening. Last time when we were discussing about the will, so we are remembering the English proverb, where there is a will, there is a way. So here mother is telling that the will is there and will is very strong. Actually, nothing will come in the way. Slowly, the other things will go up. The will is the main thing, because and that should be perfect, and that should be for long duration. It is not one day's affair or something and all. It may be whole life or maybe many lives together. So once you have got this precious life, probably that will has to be maintained. Thank you.
Yeah. And we will also see that at times we are feeling very full of conviction and strong in will. And yet at times, because there are phases that happen, the the older habits again show up their face. That's how it happens in integral yoga. And they have to show their face, because they just want to show that, oh, I'm still here, don't think that I'm fully gone. So when they show their face, then we will see that there is a phase that comes where we become weak in the will, and we again yield to the older habits and patterns. And then what happens is that we again have a little bit of disappointment or suffering in our life, which makes us very uneasy. And then again, if we work on furthering our understanding, then we again can aspire and further dust off the pants and again rise. So these kind of phases keep on coming. And I have seen that it's not just like, okay, once I have decided and that's it. To me, I don't know, has never happened like that. I decide, I transcend a little, but then I fall back again. Then I see that there is something more to transcend. Then I transcend further. That something in me is still not convinced. Then again a fall, and then again a little bit of transcension, because transcendence. And then I realized that, oh, there was still something which was not fully convinced. So like, so I've seen that it happens in like a wavy format. And that's why, as you were sharing, that it will take a long time and maybe lifetimes, but at least we can start with whatever little we can start right now. Yeah, anybody else? Okay, so in that case, we can maybe go further, which is open only to the divine. Yeah, if anyone would like to read, please.
Yeah, I'll read. open only to the divine. Sweet Mother, what does an exclusive self-opening to the divine power mean? Instead of self-opening, we could put it receptivity, something that opens in order to receive. Now, instead of opening and receiving from all sides and from everyone, as is usually done, one opens only to the divine to receive only the divine force. It is the very opposite of what men usually do. They are always open on the surface. They receive all the influences from all sides. And then this produces inside them what we might call a potpourri, mother loves, of all kinds of contradictory movements which naturally create countless difficulties. So here you are advised to open only to the divine and to receive only the divine force to the exclusion of everything else. This diminishes all difficulties almost entirely. It's very difficult, to find out that exclusively this is from the divine power. So, as a normal human being, so I find it is very difficult that I'll open my door only for that divine force or divine power. The question remains that how to recognize whether it is a divine power or something else.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, would anyone want to share anything on what Padalji has shared? I think one of the ways which we can think of, which will also make sense to us, is, see, whenever we use the word divine, we have, it's not a quality less divine. We have many qualities in our mantras also that we attribute to the divine. Like Mother has used many good qualities, or not qualities, maybe, say for example, beauty, harmony, truth, light, and say vastness, wideness, flexibility, suppleness. So all these things are taken synonymously when we take, say, divine, use the divine word. We can use these, and in our mantras also we will see that these qualities they use actually, and not finite, infinite, right? So when I, and we are all very smart, we have intelligence that is working within us all the time. So right now, if I look at my thoughts, and if an evil thought comes into me or a beautiful thought comes into me, wouldn't I be able to intelligently see, that okay, this is a beautiful harmonious thought, expansive in nature, and this is a little constricting in nature and self-limiting? We are all able to see. So we have to use that power of seeing in us, because that has a power of discernment also. This quality of consciousness has also discernment. that it knows what is dal and what is dal mein kala. We all know that. So we have to make use of that seeing capacity, and then as you were sharing that, then it would not see. You will see that it is not difficult to see what is beautiful and what is ugly. Also, not in other people. If somebody has a goodwill for you or somebody has an ill will for you, you will sense. You will know it, that oh, I see, I sense it. And same for myself, that if I am interacting with a person and I feel a constriction in my heart and I'm talking out of that constriction, I will see that no, this is not divine influence. So we have to trust that seeing, that inner intelligence, innate intelligence that is working in us all the time. And even when it comes to darkness and light, again, light we use for the divine, that as mother was sharing, offer it to the divine or offer it to the light. So we can see that when I am feeling a little dark today, or I am feeling full of light and positivity today. Don't we know that? All of us know that. So we have to trust that intelligence, because that is the one which is dependent on seeing. When I'm developing this capacity to see and witness, be conscious of my inner movements, then I can discern also whether this is divine influence or ego influence. I know. We may not be very honest at times, but we know. Inwardly pata hota hai. Out of habit, we may not want to admit it to ourselves, but we all know what is divine influence and what is not. That's what one of the ways in which it can be shared. Yeah. And anything more? Anyone?
Actually, I read one book. It is prescribed that 100% we must get rid of gossip. So particularly, I am retired now, and even those who are in the working life also, if you take the total stock of the talks which we had during the day, if you can measure, I mean, how many hours or whichever may be the quantity, so we can see the majority of that were of gossip in nature. So this distracts the mind, and but if I'm in a position to practice the quietness in my mind, rather I'm speaking very less. If it is really required, then only I open my mouth, and then the gossip will come down, and the mind becomes still, and in there the discernment becomes very quick. Like I can discern, and what is good, what is bad, and all. It becomes like crystal clear. Like there are some happenings also which is going to happen later, maybe a few hours later, but I am seeing now. Now at this point, I am in a position to see. Even this can take place. If the mind is very, very calm and quiet and all, and you are not at all disturbed, the mind is not running away from you. So at the time, it becomes very easy, actually. Very, very easy. One incident I remember, I was at Bangalore in one of the busy place, and the one person in a bike is very high speed, and but it was the road was also totally populated. There are so many people are crossing the road and this and that, but he was in such a high speed, and I just thought that he is going to make an accident, and he did it. It was fatal, actually, fatal accident. So as if it was seen that, but I cannot do anything. I cannot shout at him that don't do this or stop or something like that. There was nothing of that. It may be only 1 second or maybe fraction of 1 second, but it happens. But you should be at very you will be there at present. We should be at the presence, actually. So this takes place. If you can somehow cool down ourselves and come down, and the gossip totally we can eradicate from ourselves. So then actually the things becomes easy on this line, on the sunlight path. We can really gain so much from it. Thank you.
Yeah, on this part, gossip is like poison. And not only on this path, in general also gossip is like poison, but generally we are used to poisonous lives. But here we slowly, as you were sharing, we increase a little level of purity in our being. Then we are able to see that no, this something is not right when we are gossiping, indulging in these things. It doesn't appear right. Yeah. And also saves us so much of energy and leaves it for good work, which we can put ourselves into. Anything more?
Uh, I just wanted to add into this gossip element sometimes we cover that it is not gossip. Only two persons are talking about some third person, and maybe you are very logically analyzing the things, that what are the things which are not good, and due to that the person is suffering, he or she is suffering. Even then, when you talk, these kinds of talks don't make you good, don't feel good. You shouldn't say. Who are you to say or criticize that person? And then instantly, when I felt that this is not good, why I am saying, if I am saying, then I started offering it to mother. That means I consider myself very good, and I always मैं सब अच्छा सोचती हूँ, सब अच्छा करती हूँ, और वो व्यक्ति जो सफर कर रहा है वो अपनी थिंकिंग की वजह से कर रहा है. काउंसलिंग में थोड़ा सा ये हो जाता है. एक तो गॉसिप, और दूसरा राइट फ्रॉम द बिगनिंग इफ यू डेवलप दिस टेंडेंसी, लोग कहते हैं ना गॉसिप कर रहे हैं तो बड़े मजे लेके कहते हैं गॉसिप कर रहे हैं, तो वो गॉसिप अपने आप में नहीं अच्छी होती है. One thing more which I wanted to add into this, yes, I wanted to share one experience. Like, we like to watch movie, or not all the TV shows, but some of them. But after watching them, one indication is also that whatever you think that it is the method of entertainment, but at the end of the day, when you reach on your bed and stop taking karo, so you thought that I am going to watch this for my entertainment, but you're absolutely vacant, khali bilkul, void, complete voidness. And then you know that only thing which can fill you is just keep silence, meditate, call mother, think about it, read something, listen some video, and then only some satisfaction is there. तो अब इसका क्या करें? टीवी भी देखना छोड़ दें?
Why not? Why not? I mean,
मैं बहुत सारा नहीं देखती हूँ, बस एक
I think it depends upon the kind of things also that we are watching. Like you said, if you are listening to a talk or a discourse, it somehow we know that I need it. It's for my soul. It's detoxifying me, and I know that this is right for me at this moment to listen to it. At another instance in time, it may not be right actually, because there comes many different phases in our life, and I'm not feeling like listening to any talks. I enjoy my silence, for example. That could also be one phase. But most of the times, since the mind is chattery, and to quieten it down at times, talks or discourses of full of understanding, they help. So, of course, but it always depends upon what you are watching, because whatever you are watching is leaving imprints on your consciousness. And if once it has left its imprint, then you can actually, as you said, it may also keep resonating in you. Like if I listen to something by Aurobindo, or some person who I resonate with, then it leaves an imprint on me. Definitely. And that thought comes to me again and again and again. That's what happens, right? So if I'm looking at something which is a lower form of entertainment, which I lose to watch, and out of habit, I'm just continuing, but I have lost enjoyment in it, but I still continue out of habit. You will see that slowly a kind of aversion will begin to come in you. You will not enjoy that I watched it. And slowly, I think that is how slowly, kind of that pattern goes away. It doesn't go away like that mostly for us. So out of habit, I will continue to do it, but I see that, it's not giving me any good, amount of satisfaction, as you said. Rather, I would sit silently, quietly, and be with myself and dip the mind in mother's presence or whatever. And I find now that gives me more contentment. So let me do that. So slowly our tastes are changing. पहले
Changes.
हाँ समोसा खाने का पहले शौक होता था, अब समोसा खा तो रहे हैं बट इतना मजा लुत्फ नहीं आ रहा, you know? तो अब मन करता है कि कुछ हल्का खाया जाए, कुछ हेल्दी खाया जाए, तो उसकी तरफ धीरे धीरे हमारा इंक्लिनेशन बढ़ता है. So I think it happens slowly only because old habits, they really take time to fully push off.
Right.
Yeah. So this aversion that you were sharing, that अब करूँ क्या इसका, मतलब मैं ये कर तो रही हूँ बट मैं करूँ क्या, मतलब मन नहीं है करने का बट फिर भी कर रही हूँ. This is a very good beginning कि अब उसका टाइम अब खत्म होने वाला है, ज्यादा दिन टिकेगा नहीं.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything more?
I just wanted to say that I think gossip, talk about gossip, but gossip is, I think, only the tip of the iceberg. The problem is our inability to control our speech. I think in this session only we were talking about, you only mentioned about long back, about the sadhana of the speech, how we can do. Then I read something about it, I think in letters in yoga, Aurobindo written extensively about it. And like, trying to even practice it one feels the 4, 5 points that mentioned about how we can have sadhana not only benefits others, but how much energy. I feel I did not realize that how much energy we waste through words. So we think that we're sitting and just talking and chattering away, not doing anything else. It doesn't take away the energy, but actually when you don't do it for a few days and you start doing it, actually feel you can actually preserve so much of energy by doing that sadhana of selective talking, or even Maun Vrat was very prevalent. And I feel it's beautiful if you try to, not like Maun Vrat completely, but consciously try to be as silent as possible for a few days. From that, so not only gossiping, but overall our control over speech, if we can do it, very beautiful practice. But again, very difficult because we slip many times. But yeah, just that.
Yeah, beautiful. That's why we will see in just like you referring to letters on yoga or at other places also in the ashram, because there it was more a conscious attempt to purify consciousness. Mother is trying to purify the consciousness so that we can bring down the new consciousness, clearing of the garbage first and the new can come. So there we see that a lot of emphasis was given not to engage vitally with the sadhaks. You will see many, many anecdotes there, many letters there, where Mother and Aurobindo are telling not to engage vitally in these this is, speech is a vital movement. You feel like sharing your heart out with the other person. It's a vital movement mostly, right? So vitally, we take energy from these conversations. You will see, if you look at it, इवन लंगोटिया यार के नाम पे जो हम डिस्कशंस करते हैं, वो हमारा बेस्ट बडी वॉट एवर, चाहे स्पिरिचुअल हो चाहे कैसा भी हो, मुझे नहीं पता. These vital discussions, they give us a boost and pump of energy vitally. So that's what Sri Aurobindo and Mother say, that the vital should be solely under the influence of the divine. Matlab, all feelings and emotions now are totally turned to the divine for their sustenance. अब मुझे बार बार किसी दोस्त को कॉल करने की जरूरत फील नहीं होती कि मैं थोड़ा अच्छा फील करूं अपने में ना. So this is the change of the vital taste, that where are you drawing energy. See, vital is energetic being. We need to draw energy from somewhere. One part is nature. Nature also gives us this vital energy when we connect with nature, do lots of hands-on activities which connect us with nature, trekking or these kind of physical education or other things. That also supplies some of it. And then some of it, if we are degraded in our consciousness, which most of us are when we start, then we draw it from these discussions, or as we were talking about, gossip, or even these entertainments that we were talking of on the TV. What is it? Drawing of vital energy. But then slowly, as our tastes change and purity comes in the being, then we see that I have watched it, but I'm not drawing any energy out of it. Or I have talked to a friend, but it doesn't feel nice. Something is amiss. So that is a signal that now tastes are changing. And now you prefer to draw vital energy from, say, reading Savitri or connecting with the mother or just being with yourself. I think that's a very beautiful replenishing that we do when we are just being a very good, intimate friend to ourselves. Being with that emptiness that is there, being with that void that is there, making friends with it, not running away from it. That and engaging in all kinds of whatever art, music, to each his own, wherever we are interested. So all these things also provide us, when we turn vitally, totally to the Divine Mother says, then we are actually very safe. That we don't need to fall into the lower kinds of sustenance of the vital energy. And these interactions, mostly on the level of vital, what we have usually with our friends, they, for whoever is sincere about the path, for them, then it stops to resonate. It doesn't resonate. So you may have friends. It's not that friendships are not there, but you don't interfere unnecessarily in each other's lives because you know that's not the right thing to do.
There is a questioning mind is always there. So sometimes feel whether this is the vital strike or this is the true indication that you don't want to draw energy from all those conversations. किसी friend को phone लगा के. How to differentiate between
No,
this?
in vital strike, you will, I feel that when vital is on strike, you have a lot of lack of energy. Like you're not self-motivated. While when the vital is totally turned to the mother or to divine, then you are self-motivated. You don't need any other person to motivate you, or you know what is the work to be done and you are at it. So
I noticed after each conversation वही पुराने दोस्त जो हैं अब ये तुम तो फोन करती नहीं हो तो वो questioning mind हमें तो हमें लगता है कि ठीक है तो now I have learned to talk less, as Nandini was saying, because after that you feel कि क्या फालतू में इतना बक
no,
कर
so
रहे थे.
see, mortality bears ill heaven's touch. हमारे आसपास वाले लोगों को नहीं अच्छा लगेगा जब हम कम बोलना शुरू करेंगे या उनको फोन नहीं करेंगे. Of course. बड़ी तो साधु बनती है, बड़ी संत हो गई है, all these kind of things. See what happened to Jesus Christ. Who are we? When he was alive, he was hanged on cross. Who are we? Right? So we are trying our best to have purity, but collective consciousness loves impurity. Whole of Savitri is about it. That how we hug our lot and mock the Savior light.
Beautiful.
That's what we do. So we don't have to be frustrated or because of these people around who may not appreciate. Let them not appreciate. As Mother says, be good for the sake of being good, because you now have a taste for being good. So speak less because now you have a taste for it. अगर उनको बोलना है वो एक्चुअली वो थोड़े टाइम तक बोलेंगे, क्योंकि अब आप चेंज हो रहे हो, है ना. कोई अगर बंदा सामने जैसा था वैसा अब वो नहीं है, और दूसरा बंदा भी जहां से देख रहा है उसको लगता है कि नहीं नहीं बहुत बातें करना अच्छा है, wherever he is, the person, he will not, we cannot expect him to appreciate. Buddha, when he must have left his house, do you think people must have appreciated that he left his wife and the kid? खूब गालियां खाई होंगी, बट उसको
अभी
पता
भी
था.
खाते हैं. अभी भी सारे फेमिनिस्ट जो हैं वो सुजाता उसकी तरफ से, वाइफ की तरफ से खड़े होकर सब बात करते हैं.
So all kinds of things are there, but you know what you have to do now. That's what we have to do. There is a lot of shamelessness required here, otherwise we won't be able to walk on the path. It's not arrogance, it's shamelessness. कि मुझे पता है कि मेरी प्योरिटी के लिए ये ठीक है, और उनको भी नहीं पता कि उनके लिए भी अच्छा है ना. क्या बात होती है वो 10 मिनट आधे घंटा जो फोन होता है किसी, है ना, इधर उधर की बातों के बारे में, क्या होता है इसको लुक एट द कंटेंट. तो वो दूसरे बंदे के लिए भी अच्छा है कि वो ना इन चीजों में पड़े. ही मे नॉट नो इट, है ना, बट अ चाइल्ड डज नॉट नो व्हेन द मदर इज snatching away the lollipop from him. The child is crying, but his teeth are now safe.
But the problem is when a person is calling for the sake of the counseling, and you know that this person is only not listening, he or she is only pouring away all those things into you and not listening to your advice. So it becomes conflict होता है कि मेरे से बात करके उसको ठीक लगता है, थोड़ा रिलीफ मिलता है, तो मैं थोड़ा सा उसकी मदद कर दूं, शायद अब उसको कुछ समझ में आ जाए, शायद अब कुछ समझ में आ जाए.
आई थिंक
ये
वो
भी
तो आपका field of work is such,
हाँ, इसीलिए
it's a
इसीलिए
by default package that you get, you know, that ऐसे पैसे ले रहे हो भाई काम के, तो ऐसे लोग तो आएंगे कि बोलेंगे बस मेरा सुन लो यार, मेरे को कुछ मत
मैं
चेंज
पैसे
नहीं
नहीं
होना,
ले रही हूँ.
whatever,
मैं
you know.
योगी जी की लाइन में काम करती हूँ, तो वहां पर तो
अच्छा.
बहुत है. हाँ, और वैसे भी जो पर्सनल लोग हैं, जो फ्रेंड्स हैं, तो आप कहते हैं मुझे काउंसलिंग चाहिए. मैंने कहा जिंदगी भर में काउंसलिंग ही तो करेगी, लेकिन चूंकि घर का था, तुम लोगों को समझ में नहीं आता कि मैं क्या बता रही हूँ.
Part of the game, I think. No?
Part of it. But lot of things have cleared in by this discussion,
Okay.
right? Thank you.
Jagan, you wanted to add on?
Yes, yes. On the question by Dr. Anjali ji about how to differentiate if it's a vital thing or, back in Canada, I used to live with a bunch of friends. We rented a whole house and we used to live in that house. And there was this guy, some 4 years younger than me, and he would say, "Brother, let's go out and let's get a coffee or something." So it's randomly out of nowhere. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And I would just drive him there. And he wanted that time to talk to me about someone in the house that he doesn't like. So what is kept happening? And when you go to eat something, you get energy, right? But with the gossip that I was hearing, I was eating and I was getting tired, and I was getting drained. So this went on for a while, and then I stopped. I stopped entertaining this. Like I stopped going out with him, or we go out, I change topic and everything. Then the last time I went to Bhubaneswar to meet my uncle, Nirakar uncle, I told him that, uncle, this gossips and these things drain my energy. How can I not drain my energy? And I also asked him, that I am attracted to so many different things, attracted to all these desires, and how can I stop this? How can I stop that? All these things. And he said, stop telling me or stop asking me how to stop that, how to stop that. Start start inculcating, start adding new habits, like start adding habit of doing Savitri. He's been telling me to start collective, Part Chakra for last 6-7 years. I haven't done it. He's saying that you are working on an individual level, and that is why you are asking me all these silly questions. If you're starting collective, your accountability increases. And if he's saying that where do you have time for all this? When you can adapt all these new practices, like the Savitri, doing Savitri, or reading essays on Gita, or there are so many other things, and there are many ways, but this is one way that really I could I could understand, I could apply slowly. Wait, and then it's slowly started to I started to realize that, okay, I don't have to worry about how to not do this. I just have to focus on what I have to do, and automatically these things go out of the picture. Like my friends now, the people who I would go on to talk and every day and all these things, they kept on texting me that, why have you disconnected? Some people said, have we done something wrong? Why are you not talking? It went on for a while, and I just left it there. But now the relationship has come to the point where after 10 years, if I call them, they'll say hi, I'll say hi. But in the 10 years, it doesn't matter if I stay in touch or I don't stay in touch, because that's where the relationship matures at, eventually. So, yeah, like, all I want to say is that to add, like, that there are so many things and there is really less time. Like Savitri, or I'm in Pondicherry right now, and I'm having the time of my life. Like, there's so many things I can do here, and there is literally no time for uh, gossips. So yeah.
From Jagan, when Jagan was talking, it also reminded me of the difference that I learned is doing gossip and listening to gossip. And there, I mean, I have experienced that personally. You are sometimes stuck in a places that even though they don't want to do the gossip, you are listening to other person's not gossip, but maybe ranting or complaining. Similar kind of different in like same energy, but different in genre. And like, and I used to get so frustrated that my God, and there was a kind of judgment that how ignorant is the other person, even very subtle. But and I think why is he so or why is she so ignorant about complaining? Why there is no acceptance about this thing? And I remember I used to give the gyan and everything I've learned about all this practice of gratitude and acceptance. And there was so much like there was resistance from the other side. And then later I realized that there can be times when I'm stuck in a place where I have to listen to the complaining or the gossip. It's not gossip is different, but maybe complaining, I would say. And the best thing that we can do is, I think Tekno Khan only talked about it, the best thing that one can do is just maybe listen for the sake of listening and being there as a beautiful presence. But for that, you need to do work on yourself. Otherwise, you'll be caught in that drama. And also, like Alubna says, that how we can, turn away from that vibration. So rather than saying, why am I here? That knowing that if you're here, maybe divine wants you to be here at this point. And how can I not tap into that energy of vibration? It's a practice for me, which is very difficult. If you're running away from those energies of anger and all of this, and you are in it, I mean, in the beginning, of course, we're all beginners, at least me. And like, that is also I learned that art, that even if I'm not doing it, somebody else is doing it, it should not provoke me. My center should remain calm, and what I can do is invoke divine grace for both of us. And maybe both evolve rather than just saying, I'm just gonna, avoid these people completely, like especially close, like, they are maybe a partner or parents or siblings that you live with or children. So that also I realized the difference of that, the thought of sharing and then.
Nandini, do you remember one time? I don't know if you were in the session then. Taru ma'am, we all were there, and I was telling Taru ma'am about how this person is talking about all these material things, and I'm getting irritated and all that. And I said, I just wanted to, I wanted him to shut his mouth and all. And she said, Jagan, if a kid is showing you toys, and he's saying, I got a new toy, and he's talking about this toy, so will you be like, attracted or will you be disturbed? And I said, no. And she said, why? I said, I'm not interested in toys. And then she said, yes. So if you are really getting irritated by, or, getting carried away by these things, then it means that a certain part in you is still attracted to that conversation or, kind of resonating with that conversation. And also she one time said, do you see how amusing it feels when you can just look and just see how things are? And I said, how, I thought that's not possible, but now, um, I see certain things, I see certain actions. I find it really amusing. I'm like, there are desires, there is still progress to be made, but then also there are moments where I see this and say, okay, fine, we'll be happy, but I'm okay where I am. If you talk, okay, talk, but I'm just happy where I am. So, yeah.
I was referring that book actually which I read. The name of the book is Complaint Free World. It's by Will Bowen. So it's so interesting, and it's only 21 days actually in that book. They said you have to 21 days. You need not complain about anybody. You just practice this, and then you need not to do anything actually. You will be a totally changed person. You have to write down what type of person now you are, and after 21 days you will see that you have totally changed yourself. You are a different person. You don't know actually who are you, who were you. So and that book, when people started reading and all this, and they say the experiences they have shared, and those experiences are written. He got some email and all this, and all this, and all that. It's very difficult. unless somebody, sadhak or somebody is there, so probably they can do it within 21 days. Otherwise, it may take 6 months or 1 year or 5 years or 10 years. And for some people, it may take one life or few lives. Because it is very difficult, because you are totally engaged. In that itself, this gossip was there, one of the things. हम अगर मौका मिलते ही we start either blaming somebody or some gossiping, because that becomes the headlines actually. The person who is there in front of me, and if I blame somebody, then he will also say, yes, 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 I also on that day, and I was also thinking like that. The topic starts. So this book, I think I request that if somebody can go through this, it's totally so nice actually. The 21 days has got a lot of link. Even in my village, I was from the remote village there. When the child is born, and the 21 days they were kept in that same room where the delivery took place. After that, only child can be taken out of the room, and there that master oil lamp was being grown all these 21 days continuously. And later on, we came to know that this is actually all this bacteria and virus and all, that is only for the prevention of those, that oil when it burns. It's not that in a big fire like, but still that lamp is grown there. So this 21 days, even I on YouTube, is from the ISKCON, this Gaur Gopal Das. He did some program all over the world actually, YouTube online actually it was. So he was also doing it for 21 days. 21 days he gave 21 lectures. Means how to purify yourselves. So this 21 days has got some link with our psychology or something and all. You become really pure if somebody can practice this 21 days. I will not blame anybody, or like no problem. It's a total problem-free world. Even by doing one day, I saw doing one day, or maybe in that one day also there were few hours probably, and it gave a good result. So then I started realizing, and I wanted to read that, and then I realized whatever was my feeling, and probably the others, those who have given the reflections. So it has got a lot of similarity. And the program was very simple in that text, that you have to tie a band. So here in the sense, the 21 days, the amount of time it takes to make a repeated action into a habit. In 21 days, you can change your life completely. You need a purple bracelet and this book. You would not believe how much we complain about things. Every day we vent, moan, shout, and generally focus on the negative. So it's really, it can change a person. And it was done through church actually. He did the color of the this tag, which was pink, said. And if after one day you are again suddenly you started complaining, then you have to change that band from right hand to left hand, or left hand to right, and vice versa. So your 21 days starts now. Not that I have done one day, but in between a little bit gone or something like that. They continuously at a stage, 21 days you have to do it. In the 21 days, there should not be any comma, full stop, or anything of this nature. So this preserves energy, first of all, and the amount of energy we are wasting. Because the other day I was reading an article that we are thinking, there are a lot of thought processes are crossing our mind, everybody's, and it is draining our energy. So those who are doing meditation and all, and they have succeeded to a certain extent and all, so they are actually so powerful inside, because they are not losing this power, which is getting drained every moment. So this is actually we are on the mother's topic, but the fact remains that these are associated with it. We will open only to the divine, but we have been pulled away from our thoughts every moment. All these thought process, they take us away somewhere else, whether I want or I don't want, and all this. So everybody, those who are sadhak and all, they have got into this problem. Like the Ramakrishna's wife, Ramakrishna Paramahansa's wife, Sarada Mother, there are some disciples, they asked the mother how to concentrate. Because when I do this meditation or something and all this, mind goes somewhere else. Or I'm going to do japa, mind goes somewhere else. She says that, see, there is only one way. In the beginning, it will keep going. Let it go, but you follow, you witness. Where is it going and all this and all this. But you don't move away from your place. You decided that I have to do this meditation during this time. Say it is 7 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning. And you sit down there, this, and it will come disturbing you initially. It will be taking your mind somewhere else and all this, and you let it go. But don't let the control be go off. You have to keep that control and you have to bring it back. Again it goes, you have to bring it back. So likewise, those thoughts also will come to know that ये बंदा serious हो गया है, हमें तो यहाँ पे रहना नहीं है. So that will get reduced. But this sort of explanation what she has given, actually not actual words, but what I could understand the meaning of it. So, thank you.
Were you able to complete 21 days, Badalji?
And not yet. Probably, I don't think in this life it will be possible, but I'm still trying.
Why are you saying that?
Because see, what has happened is sometime that I try not to complain about anything, but it comes. It comes, but it is reduced. It is reduced. That is beneficial. Just because I could not complete this 21 days solid course, that doesn't mean that nothing has been achieved. But I cannot boast of, or I cannot tell anybody. But there is definite progress. But I have not left it. Even when I was in the college, and then I read Swami Vivekananda's book about concentration, and I started practicing. They say while you are eating your food and this and that, you don't speak. So I was in a hostel. So with my sign, we used to ask for the things which are required. The rice is required, or vegetable, or dal, and all this. But I practiced for 1 month, and I saw that their concentration has increased. And the reading now also, if I'm not challenging somebody to sit down and make disturbance and all, but I'll be concentrating not that way. But what I have seen, that I do something, either read some books or writing something and all this. And after that, it must have taken 1 hour. And after that 1 hour, I think that where are I? Because I was totally in this only. I didn't know what was the sound outside, or whether any phone call came or something and all that. So that means the things are working. The practice, any practice or sadhana or a good practice which you want to try to cultivate, it can be cultivated. It is not impossible. So that faith has come. If not 21 days, but yes, I can go. Even I can prove one day that yes, one day I have done. This is so enormous benefit actually you get. Enormous benefit you get. And this is not that there's so much of preparation or something that is required. So probably we have to sacrifice something initially.
Yeah. One thing which we see with mother, and also maybe with, I have only one experience with Tara Didi, because she was in presence of mother, and what we see with them is that they are never self-satisfied. Because mother also says self-satisfaction is the biggest obstacle, because what we have achieved is nothing in front of what needs to be achieved. So although, as you said, that completely, that okay, to have that positivity that we are progressing ahead, of course we need that, that cheerfulness and positivity. But I think that what we need to achieve still is much, 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 much further ahead. And there is so much, as some of us were sharing, so much work still to be done. And there is no time for self satisfaction actually. So, this thing I also see with mother, we have this example that how she, when, for example, a play is being prepared, like theatrical play, and that the rehearsals for that play have started, and mother is discussing with the other person that okay, now as if this is done, and she is talking about okay, what is the theme that we are going to take next year. अभी ये हुआ नहीं, but it's already done in mother's knows that okay, अब rehearsal शुरू हो गई तो जो भी है, it will be done. Now what is going to come next, how do we prepare the next, so I think this keeps us also very much on ground, because I feel personally for myself also that many a times we are just above the ground, and that actually makes us fall again because we have just gone up too much in the air, and these are all phases, we all have to go through them. There's nothing that they should not happen, they will happen and we will have to go through. But I think yeah, somehow just for the sake of, I don't know, as we were talking about tapasya of speech, for the sake of just, I think it will come later also, what we were, a second, yeah, here only I think there was something which was coming, yeah, this will come later. The whole made by boasting to ourselves, in our mind I am talking to myself that look, what I have achieved, and gone, it's like all that thing is gone which was achieved, for example, because the ego has claimed, and it is just poisoned by the ego consciousness that look what I achieved. So I think we have to be very, very careful of that, and it doesn't feel very nice when we hear these words. I'm sure it doesn't feel nice, but then it's heavenly cruelty, that chisels us. It's a heavenly cruelty, being close to a
The
guru.
complacency, we call
Yes,
that complacency should not
complacent.
creep in actually.
Yes, yes, yes.
So we should be guarding about that. We have to be safeguard ourselves. Like I have never seen that anybody who is in this path, they are self-satisfied, or they can boast of it that yes, I done this.
I think from time to time we all do that. It's the nature of mind. We can't help it. And then we look at ourselves doing it, and then we actually realize that no, that was not necessary. We do that. All of us do that. We are all alike.
I think we should not boast. Boast is the other word, but always we should not look, as mother says, that always you should not look at your defects only.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Because it leads to depression. So
yeah,
it is
definitely
essential, because we know that when we are doing this, we will fall again. Now the beauty is this, that earlier when we were falling, we were disturbed because ego consciousness was there. Control, because I wanted to control. But since we have started offering it, look, ये तो होगा, अभी गिरेंगे, फिर next time कोई ज्यादा बड़ी कठिनाई आएगी और उसके बाद होंगे, तो फिर एक उसको समझने का समय मिलेगा, and then say, offer it to mother. You can't control it.
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, please.
yeah.
Please.
I asked Taru ma'am once about this boast. Yeah, I told her that, ma'am, with friends or with anybody, when I talk, I kind of boast myself. I kind of talk a lot, and then later I realized that that thing should not have been said in the first place. That there was no point other than my fulfilling my ego. And she told me to practice this. She told me that the next time you talk to someone, if you feel a swell in you of I should say this, and then you see there is no context, or there is no there's nothing you can extract out of that conversation, and that is where you have to take a step back, especially when let's say I'm talking to someone, and let's say I got a new motorcycle. I didn't get a motorcycle. I'm just saying. Then is it important in this topic, or is it just to say that I got a new motorcycle? So she gave me the practice. I'm failing and I'm learning and all that, falling and standing and learning. But that practice has really helped. Like, if I can remember it all the time, then absolutely it definitely helps. But again, I'm still in the very beginning of this practice. And also, ma'am, I was in this meeting right now, in my office meeting. I thought it's a technical meeting, and it ended up it's a Friday fun meeting, and they were talking about all these places and all, and somehow I don't know how Grace works, but I'm in this session, and I could entirely skip the 1 hour meeting. Like I just put it on mute, and um, it didn't bother me. So I think that's also in this session, when we were talking in the beginning of how to not instead of how to not go there, how to go to other things that that resonate more, that help in the progress. So here, since this meeting helps me more, so somehow automatically this other meeting didn't really disturb as much as it would otherwise. So, yeah.
Yeah, any further last comments, anyone?
I just wanted to say that when you were talking, Monica, about always going forward and not being complacent in what we do, because there's so much to be faced. Like I always see that we see mother as the divine mother, and she's the divine mother, but the other aspect that she's also a human being who has taken this leap into the sacrifice of being a human like us also helps me so much, because like sometimes I have to multitask, not multi, but I have to do many things. I have to organize, cook, work. And then I say, my God, it's getting too much. How will I have time for, hobbies that I like to do? It's not, research is overwhelming and all of that. And then I immediately think, oh, look at the life of the mother. Even though she was doing one project, simultaneously she was doing 10 more things, also playing tennis, also working on healing, also working on this. So I cannot, and I am her daughter. She's like, I was felt that if she could do it, I could do. In that time, I'm not looking at her as a divine mother, because then we are not there yet. But I see that as a divine who has taken a human leap like us, if she can do, I too can do. I mean, I don't know how it's right to say that or not, but it gives me a lot of courage, like a lot of strength that I can, with her grace, if she can do, and having that ideal. And our ideas are so flawed about who we idolize. We all do idolize people in our head. We just don't think about it. But even having that helps so much. That what they have done, and if we say that we want to be connected to their consciousness, there's so much that one needs to be done in every aspect. So yeah, this that I thought of sharing.
Thank you. So just let us take a last moment of silence before we end the session, and making a resolve again, as all of us were sharing our resolves, to be a witness to inner movements, knowing that whatever gets excited and upset is the vital, not me. Looking at the movements of jumping and caught in turmoil mind, and always being aware and vigilant of our inner movements, watching the drama of our life. May we all have the courage, strength to stabilize ourselves as this awareness, which is always, always unmovable, immutable, silently watching all the highs and lows of our life. May we have the courage to stabilize our stance as that. And try more and more not to get lost in the threads and save energy there for good work and beautiful things. May we all move towards true equanimity. Relying solely upon the divine and no other influence. Thank you, everyone.